We're live.
Well, welcome. Ready, set, go to KBID Independent Affiliate. Really excited that you decided to join us and become an affiliate.
Yeah, let's do a quick introduction of who we are. You've probably spoken with one or both of us. I'm Chris Schwartz. I've been with KBID for 10 years now. I had the opportunity to see every aspect of the auction business, and our job here is to help our independent affiliates get the knowledge that they need to be successful in this industry. We're going to tell you everything we know in different snippets here. There's a lot to learn, and we're still learning as well. So we're excited that you're here and ready to get you moving forward with the KBID Affiliate Network.
Great.
I'll introduce Sally. She's in our training and development as well. She's been with KBID for about 2 years now, learning the business every day, just like I am. She works with affiliates a lot in the beginning as well. And Sally, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, well, I think that pretty much says it. You know, my intention is to really help you get ready and understand what that means. It's my job to help you get set, you know, through contracts and getting your marketing set with Chris, and then pressing go and making sure that you understand what a removal is all about, what you need to do to prepare for that.
Great. So what can you expect over these next 2-3 months as you're getting set up? First off, now that you're watching these training videos, we should have your account set up. So you should have your KBID affiliate account set up where you log in to work on your auctions. We should have your credit card account synced up with the system, whether that be Square or a merchant account. And we should have the bill and pay system set up. And bill and pay is how you pay KBID for buyer's premium and any other invoices. So those 3 accounts should be set up by this point. If not, reach out to us after you've watched this video. We'll make sure that we get that all ready to go, and so you're not hitting any barriers as we try to get you onboarded. What we're doing now is a series of video trainings on some best practices, you know, all the stuff that we learned doing this and being in this business for almost 20 years now. Get you set up with your contracts, things to be prepared for, and then just best practices for an online auction business. You know, we don't want to just teach you how to create an auction in a software platform. We want to teach you how to build a business in this industry that is underserved and has a ton of opportunity. After these series of videos that you'll see is our actual software training, and we do that through video as well. We're more than happy to walk people through it after they've watched those videos. If you're caught up with anything, obviously we're here for any ongoing questions that you have. And I think the nice part is, for the first 3 to 5 auctions that you do, we're going to be with you pretty much hand in hand, kind of walking you through the process. So you don't have to worry about publishing an auction when it's not ready, because we have you in a review status. And that review status allows us to take a look at it with you, go through it, make sure your pictures look great, make sure the descriptions are clear, your terms are good, the dates are ready to go, that any marketing that we need to do to make sure that it's successful is implemented, and all of those things. So that's just a little roadmap of what you can expect here over the next 2-3 months as you get onboarded into KBID. We do have some general information on how to contact us and some just resources you're going to want to get familiar with. Sally, when you want to talk about the knowledge base?
Yeah. So it's really important to us for you to feel comfortable knowing how to get in touch with us. Number one, you can always just pick up the phone. All right. That is, you know, even with our lockdowns and whatnot, that is still available to you. The second thing, in terms of, you know, a question that you just want answered really quickly, it's not complicated. We have a fantastic affiliate knowledge base, and you can see there on your dashboard where you can click into that. We have everything from A to Z around the auction industry, from marketing to how to find sellers, contracts, taxes. Can you think of anything else, Chris, off the top of your head? I mean, there's so much.
Yeah, I mean, all the software information is there as well.
Yeah.
So if you get caught up, that should be your first check, just to make sure that it hasn't already been answered. Chances are it is, and it's in there. But like Sally said, if you need us, yeah, we're more than willing to answer any questions that you might have.
Yeah. The second thing that we have is the bidder knowledge base. And, you know, we're honest, a lot of people don't look at this, and you know what? It will really give you a lot of leverage, because there's an FAQ in there of commonly asked questions. You can sort of prime yourself for your own your own knowledge. And that is found, there's also something called KBID 101. That's just a nice little video, nice little introduction about how the auction industry works from the bidder's perspective. So really encourage you to take a look at that.
Yeah, and our affiliates really are the front lines of customer communication for KBID. So just knowing what the bidding process looks like, knowing what those questions that you're going to get from buyers and bidders, and being able to answer those is really important. So if you're not a current bidder, I'd almost encourage you to sign up, go through the process, bid on other affiliate auctions, which you can do. Obviously, if you win, you got to pay for what you won, but get to know the system, because you will get questions and you will be walking bidders through the process.
Great. And then the other place that you can sort of network and learn things and have some fun is on Facebook. We have a private Facebook affiliate only group, and you'll find anything on there from pictures to funny stories to serious questions. You know how Facebook is. You never know what you're going to get. But it is a great way to connect with the other affiliates. And the second thing is, and this is one of the most important, is that from the very get-go, when you have an auction ready for us to look at when it's in review, we want you to send that to affiliateservices@k-bidmail.com. That is going to be the fastest way for you to get your auction approved, okay? And the second thing you need to know about this is that the entire corporate staff takes a look at this affiliate services email, all right? It's our Zendesk system, so that you can be responded to within 24 to 48 hours. So if I'm out of the office, or Chris is out of the office, or Becky's out of the office, one of us at least sees it and can defer to the other and get your answers to you quickly, okay? We also, just so you know, have bidders that write to us in that same system. So let's say you've mistakenly, locked a door and they're there for removal and they can't get in. They would, chances are, call us or write there and say, what the heck, the affiliate isn't here. You didn't realize it. We would be able to pick up the phone. So it's really advantageous for everybody to have that contact, because it's the fastest way to get in touch with us.
Great. So as we move forward here, we want to start with a little game. These are all items that have sold on KBID, and we're just going to give you a quick chance to guess at what these items sold for. So this first one sold a couple of years ago. It was a hay wagon that was decked out into a party wagon. This was one that got a lot of interest through social media. It was a fun one to see sell. So we're going to give you an opportunity here, just 5 seconds, just to guess what you think this sold for, and then we'll show you the realized price. And here we go. So this hay wagon, this recreational hay ride wagon, sold for $41.75. Like I said, it had a lot of interest, and we had 2 people that really, really wanted it. And was it worth, with just the materials, is it worth $4,100? No, but that's what you can get in an auction, is 2 people competing and driving the price up. Especially on something like this, where the known price, there's not a lot of comparables out there. So they've created the price point themselves.
Yeah, and Chris, I think what we can learn from this is you just never know, right? And sometimes it's really good to say yes to some unusual items, because it's going to draw a lot of attention to your auction for the other items. So it's a really great example of, you just never know. And, yes, some unusual items really will sell for more than you think. Yeah.
Yep. This next one was a 2004 Sterling dump truck. It had about 30,000 miles. Cherry red, as you can see. This was a nice auction. It was actually a bankruptcy auction for a local bank that did well. So we're going to give you a quick opportunity here to guess, and then we'll show you the price as well. So this truck sold for $80,844. And the reason, one of the reasons it did so well was it was a no reserve auction, and we allowed the buyers that were interested in it. We didn't cut them out by putting in a reserve. Some sellers might want to reserve this at 60 grand, and that might have taken out the winning bidder at 80,844. That's what we're trying to avoid. We need to find the right buyers, not cut them out. And going the no reserve route really allows us to do that. So this was a tremendously successful auction. Good items will sell for good prices. And this was a couple of years ago. It's a low mileage truck, but you got a really strong price for the bank and for the bankruptcy. Next, we have a 2001 Jeep Cherokee Sport.
I like that. I want to bid on that.
Yeah.
So
the story behind this is it was another low mileage. This one had about 50,000 miles, I believe. And it was a county assessor's vehicle. And the county actually had 2 of these available, and they were hoping to get, I think, $2,000 a piece. So we're going to let you take a quick guess before we give you the big reveal. So this one did sell for $54.75, and like I said, if the county was expecting or hoping for $2 grand a piece, they had 2 of these. One sold for 45, one sold for 55. 10 grand compared to the 4 grand that they were expecting. And another interesting point is, so this was a county assessor's vehicle, and the reason that that's important is buyers knew that. So it had low mileage, it was fleet maintained, relatively well driven, it's not beaten on. So the story of the vehicle itself was told in the auction description, and the bid prices reflected that. So that's, another important thing is if there's a story behind the item that really can give a buyer more background into how it was used, it can really make a beneficial impact to the bid prices. This next one is Sally's favorite.
It's so cute. It's an armadillo,
one word
right?
for it. This is a stuffed armadillo.
That's
Again, I don't know that there's any grand
story
knowledge behind this story behind this one, but we'll give you a quick second to guess what it sold for, and then we'll show you. So this was an authentic stuffed taxidermy armadillo, sold for $150. What do we learn here? There's a market for just about anything. This affiliate did a wonderful job with the pictures. You can see the background is completely white. They got a little can there for size reference. So really good job with the pictures, given what it is. But there's still value in some of the things you wouldn't necessarily think there'd be value in.
That's my favorite, actually. I love this one. This is my dad's dream car with his homemade trailer.
Mm-hmm. So this is a custom made 1988 Buick Park Avenue. I think it had around 100,000 miles on it. Another one that got a lot of action through our social media, just because of the uniqueness. I think the post that we made was, if you have a 16-year-old who's looking for their first vehicle, we have something for you. And it got a lot of activity. So we're going to give you a chance to guess.
That's priceless.
It is priceless, but
oh no.
the bidders told us the price is only $285. So yeah, it got a lot of views. A lot of people saw it, but it still has to have value to really drive that price up. And we're not going to sit here and tell you that everything you sell is going to exceed your expectations.
Yeah. However, it did bring bidders to the site, and so that's always the call you're going to have to make: is this item worth it? Is it going to bring in some attention, without being off color or anything?
Yeah, and likely the seller had no, they didn't know that this would be an item that would kind of become a joke, but in we don't want to make it seem like that, but it was fun to sell, and bidders had fun with it, and it got moved down the road.
And it's useful. I mean, I would put something in that.
All right, we'll get you one. All right, lastly, we have Eno the dinosaur. And this was a funny story. One of our affiliates actually acquired this because the neighbor behind him is a corporate area. The business had thrown out a couple of these dinosaurs that were used for some educational purposes. This one actually moved. It was robotic. It didn't walk, but the head turned and it made some noise. So what do you think this thing sold for? Is about 6 feet long, 4 feet tall, and the business had actually thrown them out in the dumpster, and they were saved by an affiliate.
Wow. Incredible.
So there we go. Yeah, it sold for $14.34. I think the lesson here is sometimes there's value in things that businesses don't see or don't think is worth the time. But $1,400 isn't nothing. That's something that they were throwing out or actually paying to get rid of. And through the bidding process, we were able to get a pretty good return for it.
Do we know, Chris, who actually bought it? Was it a private party, or was it like a museum or public place that
I
wanted?
do not know.
Yeah, be interesting to know.
I'm sure that it lives on in infamy. All right, so that's the end of our little game there, just to kind of get things rolling and show you some interesting items that have sold. Obviously, we sell thousands of items every month, and some have deeper meanings and stories as to why they do what they do, but we just wanted to pick out a few and show you, some real life examples of items that have sold. So before we get into too much more, we do want to go through a little bit of our history and where we've come from as a company. So KBID has been around since the early 2000s, and prior to that, we were a live auction company. So we were doing live auctions in our corporate location in Maple Plain, Minnesota, up until the early 2000s. And we were one of the first to make that jump into online auctions. And it's interesting that you'll see, if you go to Google Trends and search online auctions from the early 2000s on, that Minnesota is really the hub for online auctions, because KBID and a couple other companies were really some of the first traditional auctioneers to make the jump to online auctions. eBay was around in the mid 90s, but KBID and a couple others around here really made an industry changing shift really early, and have seen the benefits of that. And that's why buyers here in the upper Midwest, or where we're at, typically, buying at auction isn't anything unusual. Whereas if you go to the East or sometimes the West Coast, buying at auction is typically just for bankruptcies or divorce or death. And here, businesses sell regularly through online auctions. Individuals sell through online auctions or regular auctions. So it's interesting to see that dynamic. In the mid 2000s, 2008 to present, we started the affiliate program. And how that came about was we actually had too many sellers on our calendar that we couldn't get to. So we were backed up, and one of our sellers came to us and said, hey, how about I take all the pictures, I do all the uploading and getting all the information that you need, and you guys just collect the buyer's premium. And it turned out to be a really good idea. And, it allowed us to kind of scale our business and grow in a different way. And we've been going that route ever since. In 2014, we launched the software that you see now. So that was developed for KBID and for our affiliates to be able to work autonomously. And that's good, because it's never going to be done. We're always working on it. We're always taking feedback to make it the best software that it possibly can be. And, I'm able to see a lot of them that are out there, and I would put the KBID software, the OAS software, up there against any of them. And it really does stand us out, or separates us from the rest of the marketplace. In 2016, we were still doing auctions. We still had a full staff that was going out and doing auctions. We stopped that portion of our business. And, you know, we made the determination that we were competing against our affiliates. And we kind of always had this thing that was taking our focus away from what really was important. That was growing the affiliate network, the marketing, the technology, the software. So we stopped, we backed out of that, and haven't gone back since. And it's been a really good move for us. So now we can focus all of our attention on our affiliates and giving them the tools, the education, the software, all those things that they need to be successful, which has allowed us to grow. So as you can see, we've made a lot of changes to our business model, and we're not going to stop here. You know, we don't know what this industry is going to look like in 4 years. It could be drastically different, but we know, and you should know, that we're willing to adjust our model. We're willing to look to the future and make changes that will keep us in the forefront of this industry. So that's just a little bit of background of where we've come from, where we're hopefully going, and how we got where we are today.
Nice. Nice, Chris. Thank you. I'm just going to ask you, Chris, on my picture, it says gather round, and that is not an email I want anybody to be. It's an obsolete email. So if you go to the participant button over to the right-hand side, you can just change my name. It'll say rename, and just put my name there. A small detail, but I just want to make sure people aren't confused by that email.
Yep.
So,
No problem.
so values. So, you know, I love the history slide because it really kind of sinks you into why KBID has been so successful. And the values slide is the second piece to that. You know, it's the other side of the coin. Is they've got the willingness, they've got the history, of course, they've got the people, the great ideas, and again, the willingness. But sandwiched with that are these values that they have withheld. And as a somewhat of a newcomer, almost 2 years now, you know, I can attest and say, wow, you know, everybody in the company has really held to integrity, transparency, innovation, partnership, and service. So let's go through these one by one so that you can be thinking, what does this mean in my business? Because we're here to tell you, you're not doing this for us. You're doing this for you. We're trying to tell you what you need to do, what you can do to increase profitability, sustainability, and stay in business. So transparency obviously is the most important one, meaning we expect, and you want to expect from yourself, full disclosure in all of your pictures and all of your descriptions. It's not a maybe, it's just get used to, you know, almost over communicating if you have to. You know, from the eyes of a lawyer, you know, you want to give the facts. We don't want it to be flowery, but you just want to make sure you have full disclosure, whether there's a dent or a tear or a chip, all of that needs to be disclosed. The second thing in transparency just means honest communication. Again, just telling people how it is. People know this is a used site. They know that there's going to be some problems. So just tell it like it is, and you'll be fine. Clarity in your auction terms. This is huge. All right. And I know if you've cruised the site, sometimes some terms are a little clearer than others. Do your best to be really clear about what your removal terms are, what your extra fees are, if there's extra fees for a special assignment or a special removal. Just make sure that you're really clear on your shipping and, you know, what you're accepting. If you're accepting MasterCard and Visa, then just be really clear that that's what you're accepting. And then if something does go wrong, we're all human. Just take responsibility and say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. You know, I didn't see, I looked at that bowl, you know, 2,000 times and I didn't see the chip. I'm really sorry. Let me give you a refund for that. Mm-hmm. So this is a moving dynamic value, but just do your best. Just always check in with your gut. Use that full disclosure, be honest, and you will do great.
Yeah, and you know, we're in the days of Amazon and 2-click buying and 2-day delivery. The expectations of our buyers is changing. And if we're not fully transparent in what we're selling, we're not going to be around very So just be aware of that. It's how we buy. It's just being able to trust what we're putting out there. And quite frankly, you won't be in business if you're not putting this in the forefront.
Great. Now, what's the difference between transparency and integrity? Well, again, it's that checking your gut. It's always acting ethically and morally. You know when you know what's right and wrong. We all do. And sometimes it's like, oh, I just want to shortcut something. Just don't. Just get in the habit of always acting ethically and morally. And that is, it's not a feel-good thing. It's really gonna help your profitability, because people notice that. They notice when you're doing the right thing, even if it's something that you have to say no to them. They're like, wow, they really mean business. I'm so sorry, Joe. We closed at 5 and you showed up at 6. Let's meet tomorrow at 5 when we're still open. Simple things like this, right? So set those boundaries that work for you. And again, a lot of those boundary conversations do have to do with removals. What's going to work in your schedule, but also have some flexibility. Particularly now when we're taping this, we're involved in lockdown. Who knows? That could be coming and going for the next few years. And so you want to have some flexibility. We are here to serve. We are a service business, but never at the expense of yourself and your business. All right. And you're going to find that fine line. Okay. Building trust one communication at a time. I love this one. We could do a whole seminar on this, because what this means is having, some sort of memory system about who you're talking to. So if you're talking to a really important seller that's going to be giving you a lot of business over the years, you want to make sure you know how they like to communicate. Do they like the telephone? Are they older and they don't do social media? Then give them a call. Is it a millennial and the only thing that they're going to do is text or Snapchat? Then do that. All right. But you're building that trust one communication at a time. All right. So I want you to just kind of step back and realize, particularly since we're more online now, how does that person like to communicate? Because there's so many forms of communicating now. And just write it on their chart, write it on their invoice. Hey, he really likes an email and a text. And that's going to, again, build trust as you build your bidder base. Upholding values. So what you do affects us, and what we do affects you. What another affiliate does affects your business, and what you do affects them. So we're all in this together, and let's all just keep upholding those values of integrity, morality, setting the boundaries, so that every experience somebody has with KBID, is unique. They're having a good experience. They're having a moral experience. They're having a nice experience where they can start to really trust the network.
Perfect. Sally, I'm going to take the innovation slide if you don't mind. So, we're huge on innovation because we have to be. We want to be the experts that you don't necessarily have to be. We have developers in-house. We have marketing expertise in-house. We are continually upgrading the software, and we're always looking for those new waves of buyer trends and marketing trends. Right now, Facebook is the #1 way that we promote our auctions in our venue. Will that be the case in 3 years? Probably not. Maybe. We don't know. But we're going to be looking at what's happening. And so you don't necessarily have to be at the forefront. And what we discover and what we learn, we want to pass on to you as well. We're huge, and I'm huge personally just on improving our systems, whether that be through different softwares, improving your logistics, your labor, making sure that you're really putting the numbers, looking at the numbers after each auction to make sure what you're doing is making sense. Because it's easy to get caught up with getting busy and not necessarily being profitable. So as a company, we take innovation very seriously, and we know that it's another thing that separates us from some of our competitors, and we want affiliates to know that we're always looking at what's coming up next.
Great. So back to being a service business, you would just remain professional in challenging situations. We want to be consistent in communications with buyers and sellers. We want to educate both bidders and sellers. And I love this one. You want to walk through what they can expect. Now, if they're an old-time bidder and they understand, that's one thing. But if it's a new bidder or a new seller, just walk them through what they can expect, because it's kind of scary. It's like it's all online. People don't know. Just have your little elevator speech about how you can make them feel more assured and comfortable. And then we do have a whole slide that we're going to talk about positive language in, but we do want to use positive language and create those raving fans. All right. And so we'll get into that a little deeper. So I just want you to take a minute and just think about, how you're going to be a service business, and what little special things can you do to make sure you're communicating, educating, creating raving fans. For example, one of the affiliates did an open house, and if they drove, I think 20 miles or 50 miles, they offered them a free hamburger at the local place because they knew they had to drive a far way to get to the open house. So lots of little things you can do to be thinking about how you can elevate your professionalism and elevate your ability to serve. So partnership, again, utilizing that network, communicating with us, upholding the values, and what one does affects the entire network.
Yeah, so you're all independent businesses, but again, what you do affects other affiliates, and what we do affects you. We want to see the network as a benefit for you, and it's not all competition. There is a ton of knowledge, there's a ton of expertise in our network, and our goal is to make that expertise available so affiliates can work together. They can look to each other for support. Sometimes we've had affiliates partner up with each other to do a specific project. If you don't have the expertise in industrial equipment, I know 5 people that do, and I can put you together with them, whether you work on the auction together or you just refer it off for some kind of a referral fee. There's a lot of opportunity in this business, and I think one goal that we should have is that we never have to say no. It's more of, well, I don't have expertise in that, but in our network we have XYZ auctions, we have this person, and I know these people that would be a great fit for your project. So that's really what we're trying to build, because we feel that we'll be stronger in those numbers, and it'll be better for all of our affiliates if we can get everyone working together in some aspects, growing their own independent businesses, but seeing the benefit that a larger network has.
Absolutely.
So in recap, this is the end of our first little intro video here, but we showed you what you can expect. You got to learn a little bit about Sally and I. You got to see a little bit of our history, and then most importantly, is these values. It's what our company represents. It's every decision that we make. We're looking at these values to make sure that they're being upheld. And we wouldn't be the size that we are. We wouldn't have seen the success that we have if we didn't do that. So our challenge to you would be to, look at our values and consider your own values for your company as well, and what you want to be representing as you move forward.
Great. And I'm just going to add one last thing to that, and that is that, all of these things are only as good as we interact with them. So going back to that contact page, ask us the questions, all right? And even if it's just a minor question, it really, you're building relationships with us as well. And it's utilizing these things. And we are going to be thinking about new opportunities to gather together on Zoom conference calls and things like that, so that moving forward, you feel like you really are in partnership, not just with a computer, but with actual people and real life experiences. And we all know that a story, sharing stories and sharing successes and sharing failures is really where the fun is and where the meaning is and motivation is. So while this is all really informative, we are human beings and we love what we're doing here. We want you to love what you're doing. And it's going to take, moving into this new world of ours, interaction. It's going to mean keeping the human aspect in, within these systems that we're now working with computers and whatnot. And hopefully we'll get back to more, hugs and kisses and all of that. But I just want to really say that we're here and we're working towards helping you interact with this new medium as much as possible.
All right. Well, thanks for watching this first video, and we'll see you on the next one.